and welcome to another edition of Good Morning Pattaya, Pattaya Channel's very own breakfast show. I'm your host, Nick Pendrell, and joining me back once again is the lovely Carolyn.
Good morning, Nick.
Thanks for coming back to the show.
Very excited to be here.
And we have another glamorous guest with us in the form of Ffyre. Welcome to the show.
Well, hi.
Nice to see you here.
Likewise.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a photographer based in Bangkok in the south of Thailand.
Mm-hmm. And so photography, that's your main thing. So
Yeah.
how did you get into photography?
Well, I started around 8 years ago.
Right. And have you been sort of trained professionally?
I self-taught myself. So when I go to school and I have my photography class, they would look at my portfolio and give me A straight away. So I don't need to study photography.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So I never get to study photography at all.
Right.
But it's my passion.
Yes. So, what age was it when you got your first camera?
I was 16, 17. No, 8 years ago, that was when I was 16.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what type of camera was it?
It was a Canon EOS 350D.
Right. So if you didn't study photography, have you made studies in other areas of creative arts?
I studied architecture for 1 year, graphic design for 3 years, and art history for 3 years.
Oh, right.
Wow.
So that's a lot of studies in a lot of ancillary sort of creativity. So what makes photography different from sort of graphics or fine art?
Because it's an easier way to reproduce art, and it's a faster and most convenient way to express one's emotion.
Right.
As an artist,
Right.
not a designer, because artists and designers are different.
Sure. So tell us a little bit about your style and what makes your form of photography unique.
Well, my style is usually black and white because it leaves the space for thoughts, and colors define too much of emotions.
Right.
And usually my style is just not so high in contrast, a little bit vague and blurry. Yeah, that's basically my style.
And do you shoot mostly outdoors or in studios?
I shoot everything I can. I even shoot air.
Really?
Yeah.
What, literally, you've shot air?
Yeah.
What does a photograph about air look like then?
Like white and black and gray and yeah.
Right. So,
Is it all natural photography that you do, or do you do some portrait or?
I do everything except for events, and if I can choose not to do fashion, I choose not to do fashion.
Okay.
why not fashion? Is it just not interesting for you?
Because I think it's too like short-lived.
Right. Okay. It dates too quickly.
Yeah. But photographers these days must do fashion. Like even I do fashion because it's hard to live without doing fashion, because being a landscape photographer and an urban photographer, it's hard to earn a living not doing fashion.
Right. Yeah. So you mentioned urban photography. So what is urban photography?
It's just everything. The street, the trees, the flowers, the insect, and people, lives hidden in the corner of the street.
So it must be quite tempting to take your camera with you everywhere, so that when you see something that you want to shoot, that you have your equipment with you.
Well, it's tempting, but I don't take my cameras with me everywhere I go, because I feel like my passion would drain away if I take photos all the time.
Yeah, like you're working all the time.
Yeah, like I'm working all the time.
Okay.
If you don't, then, but do you ever get to a stage where you see something and think, oh, if only I had my camera.
That's like my soul would burn. My soul burns. My soul burns.
So does it happen from time to time?
It happens.
Oh dear. Yeah. And have you ever been tempted to replicate it and think, oh, I'll shoot a bit and...
Yeah, sometimes I'm tempted, but no, I never did.
No, it's got to be spontaneous.
It's got to be spontaneous.
In that. How do you find your inspiration? Because I look at photography, I think, well, that is fascinating, but I could personally never spot something that would make such a good photograph.
Well, like everywhere, like in everyday life, in crowds of familiar faces, in a room full of people, on the street, in a restroom. Yeah.
It's just that you obviously just have that imagination.
Like
that,
sometimes I believe that ideas come to you. You don't always have to run into ideas.
Right. And I take it that you don't like posed shots. You just like taking people naturally.
Yeah, right.
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous. Yeah.
Don't how do you do it though so they don't spot you photographing them?
I hide behind trees. I'll hide behind cars. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I would imagine you would have to, otherwise like everybody's like starts grinning at the camera and just totally
Waving.
ruining that.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any strange encounters where they've spotted you like hiding?
Once a postman ran away from me because I was chasing after him.
Did you manage to get any shots of him running down the road?
Yeah, he got on his bike and he drove away, and I was running after him.
I guess not everybody likes having their photograph taken.
No.
Yeah.
And I believe you do something interesting with moss or mold or something.
Actually, it was fungus.
Fungus.
Yeah, I once let a British curator rate my photograph, my fungus photograph. It took me 3 years to create one photograph.
3 years to create
Wow.
one photograph.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was worth at least 25K per photograph of the fungus photograph. I would put those photographs in like a humid room, and I would go in there once a week and spray water at it and expose it to sunlight and heat and let it dry during winter and put fan on it. And there are a lot more secrets than some chemicals. A little bit of secrets.
So you could get photos of all the spores sort of coming off the fungi.
Yeah.
I've seen those.
3 years for one
3 years
photograph.
for one
Now,
photograph.
that is dedication.
And the price would increase as years go by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you say about developing, do you still shoot on film then?
Yes.
The old-fashioned style.
Sometimes I would take the back of the film camera out and put my finger on it and expose the film to sunlight so you can get a special effect on it.
Right. What do you think about the whole sort of digital revolution? Because now everyone's got a smartphone. There's pictures everywhere.
Well, I'm sad that Kodak is bankrupt, and I think smartphones is an easier way to like capture moments, but they make photos cheap.
Yes.
Yeah, too cheap, and
Everybody thinks
it's
they
too
can be a
convenient.
photographer.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely a lot more to it than just like picking up a phone
Like
and just
Snapchat
snapping
and
something.
selfies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And do you develop your own film yourself?
No.
Oh, right. Yeah, I can imagine that's
It's too old-fashioned for me. Plus, it's not worth it right now.
Yeah.
In these days for me.
So, because I know nothing about the whole sort of old school photography methods anymore. Are you one of the last few people who still use film as a medium?
Well, for my age, yes, because I think people my age don't really use films anymore.
They want that instant gratification of snap on digital and then
Post
see
it onto
yourself.
Facebook,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. So what's how long does it take? Obviously 3 years was an exception, but from the time that you snap the photos to the time that you have the finished print in your hand, how long does it take normally?
Subjective to my clients.
Right.
Yeah, but it's usually like a week.
Right.
If I work for people, usually it's like a week.
And what sort of people have been your clients in the past?
Usually models and big companies like Tesco, Lotus.
Oh, right.
Right.
So what type, I mean, that seems very different from when you talk about your style and black and white and moody. Is it the same style you use for your corporate clients and models?
No, if I work for big companies, usually they're in colors. If I work for models, they're in black and white. If I work for like graduation or like a group of people who want to take photograph, it's usually other style.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So basically, some of your work you just do for art, and others it's just for commercial reasons.
Yeah.
Right. And what about? Have you had any been in any galleries or entered any awards?
Let me think. I don't think so.
No.
No.
So where can people sort of see your work? Is it possible to view it anywhere?
It's Ffyre.deviantart.com or Ffyre at Facebook.
Right. That's and is there much of your work on there?
It's usually at DeviantArt.
DeviantArt, that's where the majority. So how many pictures of yours can we find at DeviantArt?
Hundreds.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
And that must be hard though when you photograph on film. It means that you have to scan everyone in to get them online.
I usually I have to scan them in.
Right. So that really is dedication to have to hand scan
Traditional way.
everything.
Yeah. Have you got any plans to do any other big projects like your 3-year fungi
I
project?
plan to have an auction of them, but then unfortunately 50 of them were stolen away from me.
Stolen.
Oh, no.
So I'm left with around 30 of them. So it's going to be just a small auction.
Okay.
How did that happen then? How did they get stolen?
Because I left my home and left my photographs at home, and my dad's mistress stole them away from me.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
She obviously likes them.
If you're watching, please return them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's well. I would imagine that the style is so individual to you that if they appear anywhere, you're going to go, "That's mine."
Pretty noticeable.
Take
yeah.
it back.
Yeah.
And do you sell these commercially?
Yes.
So what would it cost me to buy a fungus picture off you?
At least 25K. It's a cheapest
When
one.
you divide that by the amount of years that it took to take you, that's still not too much on a
the
monthly
price
basis.
will increase as years go by.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're benefiting.
Oh, absolutely. No, it sounds like it's a good investment. And how many of these have you sold to date?
I've sold like 6.
6?
Yeah, but I don't really want to sell them because I'm keeping them for the auction.
Right.
And I've given away a Katerina's, whichever has one.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So in good hands then. So, have you any sort of big plans coming up for the next few years? Where would you like to see yourself going?
Well, I would just like to be humbly taking photographs and traveling, writing a book, publish a book.
Right.
But on photography, just that. I don't have any big dreams. Just travel and take photos and write books.
It's like a nice coffee table type book, like a big book of your pictures.
Sounds nice. So remind us again, where can we see your work?
At Ffyre.deviantart.com and Ffyre at Facebook.
Excellent. So everybody, you can check out the work there. Ffyre, thank you very much for telling us about the photographer. Good luck for the future.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for part 2.